Let's see what happened. See if now this stream is on. I hope the sound is working. Is it? Is it really working? Let's see. I'm gonna go to my channel now and see if it's working. I apologize so much for the inconvenience, all of you nice people who come to watch my channel. Let's see. Is it good now? Yes. Are you guys saying it's good? Please start from the top. At the top. Yes, I will try, although, I mean, I was checking back and forth. I know part of the video was fine, but it doesn't matter. We're gonna start. I wonder though whether this is gonna be combined with everything or is it gonna be all fresh. I hope it's gonna be fresh. Basically, as you can see, the point being was that even I myself didn't expect the market to be all so bad. And let's just kind of look at the at the momentum as it's being structured forward on. And as I was saying, well, it's funny that was what I was trying to point out now before the sound went bad, is that this is we're probably moving towards 48.20, at least retest that area, because it appears to be that we're very bearish on the 30 minutes, and if I recall correctly, on the 45, just as bearish and even worse. Okay, I was saying that. I think some of my stuff is going bananas, but okay. So you see, we just ended up hitting off of 48.20. Let me know in the chat, boys and girls. I'll try to follow up, of course, if the sound goes bad. It's supposed to be fine this time around. I personally find it extremely weird, and based upon my experience, years in the market, I would argue that it's far more likely for the market to retest, at least rebound back to 5,000, potentially rebound even higher and actually close this gap, because again, even within the confines of the idea that we will eventually close these gaps when we will end up moving higher, it is still very abnormal behavior. And so I would actually expect, first of all, you need to consider that the bots or the robots, the computerized systems, do not properly understand the sentiment. Yes, they are engineered to try and identify when the momentum is more downwards pointing rather than upwards, and so kind of flow with the rhythm rather than fight against it. Irregardless, the bots are also programmed for other particular things, such as recognizing the market is moving towards the closure of the gap. We're news driven. No, Mamba, this is more sentiment driven. Look, sentiment is derived from news, so you can say news driven. Absolutely. So, depends how you interpret it. At the end of the day, we all know it's all about, at least part of what we like to do here is to rely on the technicals, since they are inevitably representative of the sentiment that is currently permeating the market, right? So that makes, if you think about it, just makes sense. We're not doing anything, unique here. So let's continue. Let's look at the 1 hour. The 1 hour momentum is very bearish, although I would argue that this is very, very, very much at a place where it's going to be normal to see a reversal of the action temporarily, so at least for a relief rally of sorts, because this was really, really prolonged. But let's see, for this to have a relief rally, you need to have it combined with at least some of the larger time frames and, of course, shorter time frames to agree with that, to allow it to happen, rather, to see that there is an internal partition of the cycle that is more bullish than bearish, and subsequently allowing it to rally back up. This actually could be it. On the 4 hours, we're seeing that we've been running bearish for quite a long time. There are all sorts of averages of periods of time we can deduct based upon the behavior from the past. And still under the conditions, we should be, instead of looking at the past and saying, oh, look at the past, it behaved this way or that way. Well, in the past, we didn't have the current conditions, right? And so the sentiment that we're seeing right now is better representative by the technicals themselves that do represent the current sentiment, you see? So if anything, we want to be following on what's going on. Objectively speaking, currently, bullish momentum is below, so bearish on top. And so if you objectively want to look at the 4 hours and zoom in carefully, you're going to realize that even on the 4 hourly, we are also bearish. Because it's the 4 hourly, I would argue that this represents today's session and potentially tomorrow's session. Although, as you can see, the forces moving towards convergence, so it's not going to be surprising if today's session may end up being more bearish, right? And tomorrow's session will correct on it. Adversely, because we're opening with such a big gap, it very much could be that we will see the price action pick back up to close that, or at least partially that gap, and correct back to 5,000, right? Of course, we're going to follow the momentum. The momentum currently appears to be a lot more bearish, as we said. For example, the 1 hourly, although even on the 1 hourly, we can see it's moving towards convergence. So even within the context of the 1 hourly, it's not going to be all that surprising. Now that we've tested, at least attempted the 48.20, we're going to have a bounce off overnight. And we will end up retesting at least the bottom of the channel, which currently resides roughly at around 52, sorry, not 52, $5,022-ish. Sorry, I was preoccupied by the chat. I wanted to make sure everything is running smoothly. 4 hours again, we can kind of skip it. We can go to the daily. You see the problems are piling up. The further out we go, the more we say these time frames matter, right? And could be representative of a longer duration of a downtrend. And given the fact that the matter that we are just entering oversold, normally on the daily chart, we can spend roughly on average, again, let's just call this on average, 17 days, right? Not including weekends, in oversold conditions, which gradually giving us lower and lower prices, and even worse, more bearish market, basically. Well, to each their own, of course, how they see what is worse, what is better, depending on how you're positioned. And yeah, of course, right here on the weekly, bearish dominant. Bullish momentum ran to a complete zero, basically. There's no bullish momentum in the system whatsoever right now, or so it appears, or relatively speaking, and the bearish momentum is far more dominant. And this is why we're seeing that on the weekly, potentially it's going to get or continue to be just as bad, or depends on how you perceive it, even worse. Next station, those who want to know where is the next major station. First of all, we will have a rather strong support residing roughly around, I would argue it's probably 46, it's too low. To most, it will feel roughly within the vicinity of 45.90, maybe 46-ish. It's located somewhere around, and I'm probably exaggerating, it's probably more so around here. In fact, if we will look, we will probably find it. In fact, I'm probably off by a bit, and probably resides somewhere around here, if I'm not mistaken, which gives us 58 area, 58, 59. I mean, with slippage, of course, call it that vicinity. It's going to be rather strong, but the very next one after that one will be 39, 31.3. Some of you are calling me insane seeing this, probably, but Leo, I see 4, 5, 6, 7. So Leo here advises me. He currently is looking at the right tool, so he advises me that it's roughly around 4, 5, 6, 7-ish, just kind of like that-ish, right, to roughly around 4, 5, 8, 9. So I was kind of on point. I see, yeah. I see. So it's, I mean, call it this vicinity. You know what? Just to give you a nice, decent average, 45.80. you're gonna have a very strong level right there. We can see it's been retested in the past before several times over. Those who cannot see through the noise and may not able to identify that actually even these candlesticks that transition directly through, even in this case, it actually retested that level very strongly, and this is why you see that action and the entanglement, if you will, every time we are around that 4580 level. Pardon me, give me a second, boys and girls. I need to let me clear my throat. You know, that one. Sorry, yeah, I'm back. It should be still fine, you know, but let me just keep on following the chat. Nike down 4%. Do we have Nike open and available for us? No, we don't. Let's check out Nike right here. NKE. Yeah, you're looking at Nike futures. Right. Oh, Nikkei. Oh my God, what am I? Brain not working. It's like, what the fuck am I thinking? Right. I thought you maybe have said we ended, and I'm just like, what? But Nikkei, yeah, absolutely. Sorry. Brain no worker. Okay. Let's get back to the normal market, the one we were looking at. All right, where we were here. So the idea here is on most time frames, what we can see. It's amazing when times are good. We have no idea what's going on in other markets, but when yep, that's true. That's a very good point there, Gene. Very good point. But that's again, I like to focus on our market, the one we care about, the US one. Let's see, smash the like button, absolutely. Let's see what else we want to see. I mean, monthly, of course, didn't change. There's not going to be a lot of change, and I think I've gone over this so many times, so it's kind of redundant to go over the larger time frames. They, of course, look all horrible, and it will take quite some time. Actually forgot where I'm at, what time it is, you know, just watching the market, going with things. Only this in America, red blood, American damn blood. Well, it is what it is, of course. You all know there is a way to still benefit from the US market, which is interesting how this is going to look like. I mean, we might be looking at a 58 handle, far more probable than some of us realize, which is phenomenal. That means a lot, actually. We could be looking at a 58.29 handle on the SQQQ on the open, right? So basically our daily will be done on the open, and then the market will correct up, so we will drop, retest, redo, and you know, back up, right? Like a whoop. That is definitely a scenario. Hey, press that like button to help Greg. Absolutely. The channel should be a lot better known. It's a shame that I actually, you know what, boys and girls, since you are so awesome and you keep on following my channel and all that, I actually tackled Tom with that question, with the question, how come he chooses to make videos about Tom Lee and not about myself, who is a friend of his and have been on point for, at this stage, many years and proven myself over and over again, in essence. And Tom's answer was rather simple and clear. When you will be as famous as Tom Lee, I'll make videos about you. So it appears to be that what's going on is that apparently I'm not famous enough to have made videos about me. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is that I get this far more accurately and correct than various Tom Lees, than Knives, you know, Felix's, you know, you name it. You name the channel, you name the talking head, it doesn't matter. You guys see me do this again and again and again. And you know what? I'm kind of tired of hearing, you know, no one can predict the market. Well, I do this on a daily basis. It's rather amusing. I have to admit, I do find some of these things rather amusing. And so that's why I tell you guys and girls, you know, ladies and gentlemen, if you will, to be more precise about things, you know, follow your own analysis. Don't follow Greg because he tends to be more correct than wrong. I hope you guys will love me just as much when I'll get things wrong, if I will, right? Um, and definitely don't listen to people. Just you know what? The bottom line is learn how to do your own analysis and follow your own advice, rather than listening to people who probably do not have your best interest in mind. Just kind of that's the simple thing. What else? Before I guess, there's not much to say. The market is looking rather bearish. Although I gotta admit, like I said, with my experience, with the years, spent observing the markets behaving in various ways at different times, I'm completely not going to be surprised to see the market retest back to 5,000 and even close the entire gap before we're headed downwards, given the fact that we're testing the bottom of the channel, at least the current one we've been moving within at least since April-ish, right? So given the current structure, given how things are looking, yes, I would say that makes a lot more sense that we will end up retesting higher. As you can see, we're already starting to maybe formulate a little bit of a corrective and a rebound back towards at least what makes sense to be the median. Let's call it 4,900, right? I've kind of given these targets if you watch my videos, weeks and months ago. And there you go. I guess I hate to say it, but I told you so, and I did many times. So those who didn't want to listen, and I emphasize those who didn't want to listen, can cry me a river. There's this bugger bot we have here and there jumping into the comment section and, asking about when Palantir will be dropping. And it's just hilarious. It is hilarious. The hater tiers are phenomenal. I'm not even hating on the haters. Bring on the haters. I love the hater tiers. They're sweet as honey to me. So bring in the hater tiers. And it's like, yep. Look, that's the thing with this channel. The non-bias analysis. Even when it's normal and expected for the market to correct back up, although it's contradictive for the market to do that, and we're observing far more bearish momentum, I openly tell you, boys and girls, that it appears to be that it's going to do one or another thing, right? Even if it's contradictive, even if it's not the popular opinion. I'm just giving you the review, the straightforward analysis. And sometimes I add on a little bit some sugar on top, which or sprinkles, if you will, in the form of giving my own opinion. For example, when we just very recently, were testing 5,900. It's hilarious to think that we're $1,000 lower right now within mere weeks, a week and a half or so. And I was telling you that although it appears to be that we do have in the barrel we have what it takes to make it back to 5,900. But then I also added a little bit of a note and said, look, it's far more likely that we will not make it to 5,900 and we'll end up revisiting 57, 58 maybe, and then breaking back down. And that's exactly what happened. That's what I do when I add just a little, sprinkles on top, but otherwise I just give you the non-biased objective analysis of how the market is behaving. You do with it as you wish. Yeah, looks like we're having a bit of a corrective movement. That's normal, a bit of a rebound. Given the behavior, those who know, and of course, if you care about the short-term analysis, this totally makes sense. But within the larger time frame, look, my own expertise and know-how with the market says that this is far more likely, okay, this scenario. Just because this is the more balanced, tamed, normal behavior of the market, if you would want to call it as such, okay, just kind of like that, if you will. But given the momentum, I am just struggling to see how the market will do that. We are bearish on all fronts, and we haven't even yet properly this is, if you guys think this is it, right, and this is what all overnight will be, yes, sure, sometimes overnight looks like this and boring to all hell, and then does whatever, right? But overnight market can actually be extremely volatile, I'll tell you, and uh, so I wouldn't jump to any conclusions yet. So based on my familiarity, like I said, it's going to be not that abnormal to bounce back into the some of the shorter range channels, retest 5,000, 5,100, maybe potentially, although as far as high as it seems, with given the lows that we had already, and given the momentum that is bearish, like an actual, the fires of hell, right? So you be the judge. Again, I'm just giving you what the market is giving me, and you do with it as you wish. It appears to be as the market will be moving a lot lower, which we said we named 4,700, 4,580. Of course, no, I believe that's more in the long range. That does not print right here on the daily. In the daily, if anything, we're printing is probably the diagonal channel bottom right here. You can see, and it's an ascending channel. That totally makes sense. Within the framework of this, we can easily make it to 4,580 because we're bearish literally like never before. This is a monster bear. This is not a bear. This is like a bear mixed in with a, I don't know, bear on steroids. So, I mean, I haven't seen anything like it in a very long time. And some of you may say, oh, probably since, that previous peak we had 4 years ago. I would say, no, this is actually worse. You don't recognize it, but this is a lot worse. Like, because if you think about it, that process was very prolonged and very tedious and did not give us such lows as this gave us within no time. And we're pointing, and when we did it last time, we were far more likely to have that bullish momentum, just the bearish momentum run out and bullish momentum take over, which in this case we just don't have. That it's just not there in the system. I'm just gonna point out that wonderful thing. If you look at this, we're just far more bearish than we were earlier. This is just horrible. This is horrible for the market, and we're still headed for 3,300. I told you, I called it. I was the only one. I don't believe there was anybody in the market who truly called this out prior to me, and especially based on anything that is more than a gut feeling. You know what we say in the community: if you have a gut feeling, take it to the bathroom. It may pass. Though, by the way, the community, those who are still not a part of a community, not part of the community yet, absolutely want to know and be able to join us in the future. So the way you do this, you sign up on Patreon. That Patreon will allow you to then join us on Discord. And it's so funny. I'm so attentive to the chat. Like, I'm so used to doing what I'm doing right now at normal hours. And I'm like, it's 2:30 a.m. here, just to be clear. Okay, that's why my brain is not all set. And 333, absolutely. Nanny's very good, very correct. Like, and I'm looking back at the chat and I'm surprised every now and again why you guys are not throwing tickers at me. And my brain is just so behind. It's just hilarious how I'm used to doing this at different hours. Um, it's amusing to myself. Like, I caught myself, slipping on that like 3 times by so far. So, I mean, the first time you noticed, the second time I was kind of quiet about, and just now was the third time. So it's pretty hilarious to me. This is just pretty damn hilarious how I'm like, used to doing this in different hours. Another thing, of course, I'll try to make another video before the markets open, right? To bring you up to speed, boys and girls, on what we can see with the price action once update and ran through. By the way, those who wonder, I mean, join the chat. By the way, don't forget to go to the channel and watch the lives. You see, when you go to the channel, you need to switch to live, right? Like in this instance, so you can see how most of the predictions, the proper, everyday predictions were done on the lives. I've been doing these forever and a bit, it feels at this point. I mean, pretty crazy, to be frank. Yeah. Look, I've been warning about this, months ago, 7 months ago. I was warning how this is basically just going to get prolonged and eventually will crash the market. It is pretty crazy to think that my first live stream was 9 months ago. So time flies by. Time definitely flies by. Don't forget to pass by the live. Watch the recent videos to be more up to speed. I break down most of the analysis there. Definitely join the community. So, you'll be more up to speed. You'll be able to ask me questions on a daily basis. Some of you don't know, but I do tend to hang out in our Discord on a daily basis. Of course, inform the members when I go live and all that beautiful stuff, which this time around I did not inform. I mean, I tried and it was all crazy. I think one of the members did. Thank you, whoever did that. Whoever did that, you're a goddamn beautiful legend, and I kiss you and hug you and love you a lot, like all the rest of the members. So as you can see, we talk about these things on a daily basis. We keep each other up to speed. We ask questions. We hang out right here in the open forum, just the way you see me jumping in there right now. Of course, I'll be out here in the one-on-one. This is where I take my student sessions. I teach my students one-on-one how to properly do an in-depth analysis over the chart and understand your individual assets, their correlations, the assets they're related to. We have our community meetings. We just started doing them recently, and of course now we're going to have them archived for all members to see and rewatch. If you want to participate in these, of course you got to join the Discord and be a Patreon member. The Patreon is, by the way, still 50% discounted, so I highly recommend you join, because otherwise at some point it won't be. Right, so right now all the prices are automatically 50% discounted, so you don't have to bother yourself with a headache, none of this stuff. So you can just join and get the low price automatically, no promo codes, none of that crap. Right, so definitely recommend you join. In fact, those who may wonder, let me try and show you. It looks exactly like so. You see both prices are half price. Basically, this will be $40 soon. Don't worry, those who sign up retroactively will stay on these on these prices. Everyone who now has the price they have will stay on them. It's only when the tiers will be brought back up to $20 and $40. And of course, only then you'll have only the 10% active discount. But yeah, definitely join. You join by going to www.patreon.com/investory, and yeah, you can see that's how it looks like. Join in and you'll be previewed to all the analysis. Did you just see 4888? You see how autistic we are about this? We're just like full on. This is our, everyone has their own tism. This is ours. So much love to all people with various tisms, if you will. Completely seriously, by the way. All right. I mean, that's kind of what we have for now. I know it's not as exciting what you were expecting. Maybe we're expecting for me to, break down a absolute escape plan that you haven't heard me say before. It's pretty simple. Wink, wink. Right? Wink, wink. I wonder how things will look like. I mean, I've been talking about this for months on end. By the way, another thing I do on our Discord, those who don't know, I have a dedicated channel to which I expose my positions in the open, no problem. How many, what's my average, keep my members informed. What the hell am I doing? All right, it appears to be my mouse is going bananas for some reason. Okay, well, things are not working as they should. It appears something is going bananas on me computer, and I guess that's a sign we about to adjourn this live. Yeah, absolutely, everyone. Don't forget to smash the like button. It's absolutely free, costs you nothing. If you will not smash the like, Biden will be back in the White House. You want that? Do you really want that? Do you really want the Democrats to be back and make it far worse? I mean, at least Trump is doing things that will make it better eventually. Yeah, no? That was just a joke. Don't take it too seriously. Alrighty. Trump chaos is good in the long run. You will see, boys and girls, in the long run, Trump's chaos is gonna be a good thing, and right now it appears to be as something very painful. Jesus, the market is bearish. I mean, the market is just relentless today. I mean, I would have expected them to drag out just a little bit. Really, the market is really just relentless. I am expecting the market to get even more bearish before we all wake up tomorrow. Or for me, it's going to be later today. Yeah, boys and girls, things are looking very, very, very bad. So be aware, be attentive. And I guess I'll see you in the morning's video or live in the afternoon. I guess tomorrow is going to be a very, very crazy day. By the way, which reminds me, tomorrow we have our members meeting for all the members, for all the Patreon members, the Academy members. It's going to be all combined. So to remind you, tomorrow at, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's scheduled for, you know what, I'm probably going to get it wrong. So before I do, what? Why is my Discord going stupid? I guess I moved it sideways somewhere. And now it's refusing to show. I don't know what I'm going to do about that one. Okay, that's fun. That's fun. I'll figure that one out. But yeah, I think it's 3 p.m. EST, I think, or 2 p.m. somewhere around that time. We have the schedule on the wall. Currently don't see it. You of course were more than invited to join the Discord, and then you'll be able to see it. Not like I can't right now, of course, technical issues. All right, boys and girls, I think that's all. See you all in the community on the Discord. Talk to you, see you on the next live. Have a good one. Bye for now.